Hi, I'm trying to figure out how to do videos just because I think some things are really important to talk about. So I wanted to sit here and say rah rah for Chicago for being a uh, sanctuary city. I think that's really good. Um, like every major metropolitan area, which Chicago covers, like um, basically from Wisconsin, the Chicago region, Wisconsin down to uh, US 30, um, which goes all the way across the country, out to Highway 59, even a little farther than that, and or even 39, I think 39. And that's a large area, but we have a lot of people. Um, London or England, for example, has a lot of people in it. I don't know how big London is, but we're right there. We're 8-10 million people in that kind of region, at least. And uh, we've got we need to work on uh, working better with water. We need to work better with water sustainability and building with water in mind. I think that's really important. Water is very powerful. People don't realize how powerful water can be. Um, but if you sit down and think about it, water has excavated entire caves. It has a water leak has destroyed buildings. 1 cubic meter of water is 1 ton, and a cubic meter isn't a lot in size, but a moving 1 ton cubic meter of water, that that has a lot of momentum and a lot of energy behind it. So when you see things like floods and currents and things like that, we have to build with water in mind, and we have to build compatibly with that. With that much energy in water, we should seriously be thinking about how to use that energy for some of the things that can be done. Uh, Water has a lot of lifting potential. It can be used as a counterweight. It can be used in all sorts of ways. And the nice thing about water is it can be channeled uh, into industries to do these different mechanical things. There's hydroelectric plants, there's all sorts of stuff. Now, we don't really have like huge changes in elevation, but we do in a way because we have very tall buildings. So if people could figure out a way to use the power of water in some of these buildings, along with wind power, solar power, and figure out how to, uh, you know, keep things sealed and dry and keep water in the lake, instead of wasting it. I think we're going to be farther ahead. Every rain event, even though we have, water's not an issue in Chicago, is a blessing. If we go to Des Moines, they're in a drought, and they're in a very large drought. They're just a drought. They're going to be a drought state. And it's really important to figure out, we're on the edge of that, okay, yeah, as a state. So we need to think about how this is changing. It's been going on this way for a good 15 years. So we need to become very water savvy, more so than we have been. We need to think about reuse and recycle more than we have been. We need to think about water as a source of energy more than we've ever been, okay? We are not secure in energy, really. We're not. Not with all the plans that people have, that they're putting in for different industries and stuff in Chicago. No. So we have to figure out, okay, are we going to be committed to building safe nuclear power plants? going to solar, using green roofs, because water has tremendous cooling capacity. Are we going to be, what are we going to do? And food-wise, Chicago really is in a deficit. It is. We do have a lot of gardening going on, and that is very good. But I don't think we have enough agriculture to actually feed 12 million people. But I'm not certain, all right, of that. And so, or water, fishing or anything. So I think that we need to really start thinking in terms of food security. And it's not just about trade. It's like, what happens, if we end up like in 500 and, I don't know what the number was, 36, 37, 38 AD, where there were 2 summers that were very cold because volcanoes went off halfway around the world from them and just put so much ash in, and there was just cold. Okay, what do you do with that, with 8 to 12 million people? I mean, I think this is facing everybody, not just the rich, not just the poor, not just the poorest of the poor, everyone. So when I look at sustainability, I look at right now at Chicago and tract of land, which basically runs from Highway 30 to the south to part of northwest Indiana, like Lake County, and all the way up to Wisconsin border, but probably including Milwaukee, because we have good transit to Milwaukee, all the way out to 39, which is out by Rockford, and down south again. So with a land area like that, I think we can start thinking about, what is being grown, how's it being grown, was it being consumed, it should be consumed locally, as much as we can, and then think about exporting, things like that. I think too, Mexico, the state of Mexico, which I recently heard we have trade deals with, which is awesome. There's a lot they can do for us. There's things that we can do for them. And I think that, it's kind of through trading on this thing, on this level, that you start getting some, from major metropolitan city to major metropolitan city. I think that's where you start seeing, okay, there's more of an interest. What can we produce? What can we do well and become a little bit more stable and independent, no matter what's going on. And it's not about money. It's about human and animal and ecology welfare. And that's everything from Great Lakes. So in other words, oceanic type of welfare, water welfare, air pollution, getting that under control, still doing the CMAQ thing. I mean, that's really what it's about. And the more we can do that, the better off we're going to all be. Walkable cities that are ADA compliant, transit, more transit, better, more freight capacity, more commuter capacity, ground, faster ground commuter capacity. And I'm not talking about cars here. I'm talking that we really do need a major shift onto rail if people are going to be regional. I mean, it costs like $1,500 to fly, to charter a small plane to go from, I don't know, say DeKalb or whatever to Rochester. Not joking. It really costs that much. And I don't think we can build enough highways where we're going to be water safe, water secure. And, the more concrete is put in, the more impermeable surface that is, the more flooding you get. So that's not good. Whereas you look at rail, you look at a rail bed, and it's got all of the criteria for when you go camping, you know, and they talk about, well, how do you make water more clean from like the pond or the lake, right? That you're camping next to. And they talk about, well, you put it through this filtration system of all these rocks and then pebbles and then, you know, sand, and then there's all this other stuff. That's exactly what a rail bed is. I mean, go over there and take a look at it. It just sheds water like nobody's business, but it also sheds and cleans it as it's going out. And this makes rail, you know, for as far as pollutants and what gets dragged out there, a lot less in terms of watershed cleanliness. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I hope you enjoyed this little talk. Everything is possible when you take a region that size and then think about what people are really doing, you know, and what we really need, and then trade and things like that. So just, you know, try to think about it in terms of, you know, city-state region to city-state region. So you've got Chicago-Cook County, but it's really larger than that. So what can it do? What can we do to make it sustainable? Normal, Springfield, Bloomington, same idea. You know, Champaign, same idea. You know, the south end of Illinois, you're kind of more or less part of St. Louis in some ways. Same idea. So if we could figure that out, that would be a great start. Okay? So thanks for listening. Bye.